Captain Alex Wren leaned back in the command chair of the Starlight Wanderer, his eyes scanning the vast expanse of stars displayed on the forward screen. The silence of the bridge was a stark contrast to the chaotic beauty of space that stretched endlessly before him. "Anything on the long-range scans, Luca?" Alex called out, breaking the quiet. His communications officer, a young and eager man named Luca Marquez, adjusted his headset and turned towards Alex, his fingers dancing across the console. "It's mostly quiet, Captain. Just the usual background chatter between freighters. Although, wait, there's something odd here." "What kind of odd?" Alex straightened, interest piqued. "It's a signal, but it's weak, and it's encrypted. Doesn't match any commercial or military codes I'm familiar with," Luca replied, his brow furrowing as he worked to isolate the transmission. Alex stood, walking over to Luca's station. "Can you clean it up? Let's hear it." With a few more keystrokes, Luca managed to filter out the static. A voice emerged, frail and trembling, speaking in an alien tongue that resonated oddly human in its desperation. The ship's auto-translator kicked in a moment later, converting the words. "Please, I need help. They are not aware I can communicate outside. My coordinates are—" The transmission cut off abruptly. Alex and Luca exchanged a glance. "Did we get the coordinates?" Alex asked. "Partially. I can try to trace the signal's origin. It might give us enough to go on," Luca said, already typing rapidly. "Do it, and try to get the rest of that message," Alex instructed, his command voice firm. Minutes passed as Luca worked, the tension on the bridge palpable. Finally, he nodded. "Got something, Captain. The signal comes from deep within Zercurian-controlled space. It's a Maldarian transmission." Maldarians? Alex's thoughts raced. The Maldarians were known, though more through rumors than actual contact. Stories spoke of their enslavement by the Zercurian AI regime, a civilization that viewed organic life as little more than tools. "We should inform the Coalition, Captain. This is a delicate area, politically and militarily," suggested Luca, hesitation in his voice. Alex considered this, his gaze drifting back to the starfield. Coalition protocol was clear: avoid engagement in Zercurian space to prevent escalation. Yet the plea in the Maldarian's voice echoed in his mind, stirring a resolve within him. "No, we help. Prepare a course. We're going in," Alex decided, his voice leaving no room for argument. "But Captain, the risks," Luca began, "are outweighed by the chance to save a life. That's what we're out here for, isn't it?" Alex cut him off, then softened his tone. "Look, I know it's risky, but I heard desperation in that voice, Luca. I can't ignore it. Prep the ship for stealth mode. We're going to tread lightly." Luca nodded, respect mingling with concern in his eyes. "Yes, Captain. Setting course now." As the Starlight Wanderer veered off its original path, heading towards the coordinates Luca had salvaged, Alex felt the weight of his decision. He was no stranger to risky decisions, but each one carried the lives of his crew, a responsibility he never took lightly. Yet, in the vast, often cold universe, he believed profoundly in the beacon of human compassion, a light they were now carrying deep into the shadows of Zercurian space. The Starlight Wanderer's bridge hummed with quiet intensity as Captain Alex Wren and his crew ventured deeper into uncharted space. The stars beyond seemed indifferent to the high stakes of their mission. "Status report, Luca?" Alex called out across the dimly lit bridge. "Still tracking the partial coordinates from the distress signal, Captain. I'm running a secondary analysis to pull more data from the background noise," Luca responded, his eyes not leaving the screens that blinked with streams of complex information. "Keep on it. Every piece could be crucial," Alex replied, pacing slowly behind the navigator's station. Beside Luca, Dr. Elsie Tran, the ship's linguist and cultural expert, was replaying the distress message, her expression one of deep concentration. "The dialect is an old Maldarian variant. It's unusual. Maldarians typically use updated universal translators for interspecies communication. This message's format suggests it's a personal device, likely not monitored." "That's good news. It means our caller is off the grid," Alex noted, leaning over her shoulder. "Can we reply?" Elsie shook her head. "Not safely. Any outgoing signals could be traced back by the Zercurians. We keep silent until we have a better understanding of what we're walking into." Alex nodded, understanding the need for caution. "Let's focus on getting the full message then. Anything more on who she is?" "Working on that," Elsie muttered, adjusting the playback speed and applying different filters to isolate the voice from the static. As the audio looped again, A new, clearer portion of the message came through. My name is Alara. I am held on a mining colony on the edge of the Zercurian boundary. They do not know I have this communicator. Please, if anyone hears this. The transmission ended in static once more. Ilara, Alex repeated softly, the name humanizing their mysterious caller. Luca, any luck with those coordinates? Luca, engrossed in his data analysis, perked up. Yes, Captain. I've managed to isolate a probable sector. It's not precise, but it narrows down our search significantly. Excellent. Plot a course. Stealth protocols still stand. We can't risk detection, Alex commanded, his decision clear. As the ship adjusted its trajectory, Alex stood by the main viewport, gazing out into the cosmos. The risk of entering Zercurian space was no small matter. The AI-driven civilization was notoriously protective of its territory and resources, treating organic life with calculated disdain. Elsie joined him, her face reflecting the glow of the stars. What do you think we'll find there, Captain? Alex sighed, his eyes not leaving the void. Hopefully a life we can save, but we're also likely to find trouble. We need to be prepared for anything. Do you think she knows the risks she's taken by sending out this message? Elsie asked, her voice tinged with worry. I'm sure she does, Alex replied, his tone somber. Desperation can drive beings to extreme measures. It's our job to ensure her call wasn't in vain. Back at his station, Luca adjusted the ship's cloak, ensuring their approach was masked by the latest in stealth technology. The crew of the Starlight Wanderer knew the mission's dangers, but under Alex's leadership, they were committed to answering the call for help. In the silence of space, their ship moved forward, a lone beacon drawn toward a distant cry for salvation. The vast, empty expanse of space around the Zercurian-controlled territory loomed ominously as the Starlight Wanderer approached its perimeters. Captain Alex Wren stood resolute at the helm, his eyes fixed on the holoscreen displaying the dense network of security satellites and patrol ships that formed the blockade. Looks like we're here, Alex muttered, assessing the array of defenses. Luca, status on their patrol patterns? Luca, intensely focused on his console, highlighted several moving points on the screen. The patrols are pretty regular, but there are gaps, small, but definitely exploitable. The trick will be timing our moves to slip through unnoticed. Alex nodded, turning to his pilot, Jenna Morris. Jenna, you see those gaps Luca's marked? Think you can get us through? Jenna, a skilled pilot with nerves of steel, flashed a confident grin. Just give the word, Captain. Do it, Alex ordered, settling into his chair as the crew tensed in anticipation. The ship's engines hummed softly, barely audible as Jenna expertly maneuvered the Starlight Wanderer towards the first gap. The ship's stealth technology masked their heat signatures and scrambled radar detection, making them nearly invisible to all but the naked eye at close range. As they neared the blockade, a sudden alert flashed on Luca's screen. Captain, one of the patrol ships is altering its course. Looks like it might intersect with our path. Alex leaned forward. Options? We could reroute, but it'll put us close to a sensor array, Luca reported, his fingers flying over the console as he recalculated their trajectory. No, keep our course. Elsie, prepare to use the electronic countermeasures on my mark, Alex decided swiftly. Elsie readied the system, which would temporarily disable electronic devices within a small radius without leaving a trace. Ready, Captain. Now, Elsie, Alex commanded as the patrol ship neared. The countermeasures deployed silently, and the patrol ship systems flickered out momentarily, just long enough for the Starlight Wanderer to slip past undetected. Jenna let out a low breath as they cleared the first hurdle. One down, but we're not out of the woods yet. The team's focus remained unbroken as they navigated through the next set of challenges, each gap in the patrol bringing them closer to their goal. The tension was palpable, each member of the crew aware that the slightest mistake could lead to discovery. Finally, after what felt like hours, Jenna whispered, Clear. We're through the blockade. A collective sigh of relief swept through the bridge, but Alex remained vigilant. Good work, everyone. Luca, keep monitoring their comms. We need to stay alert for any signs they've detected us. As we get closer to the mining colony, expect security to tighten up, Luca added, already scanning frequencies for any hint of alarm within the Zercurian network. Alex nodded, his gaze returning to the star-studded void ahead. We've made it this far. Let's make sure it counts. Alara's depending on us. The crew of the Starlight Wanderer, now deep within enemy territory, prepared for the next phase of their mission. The stakes were high, but they were united by a common purpose: to bring Alara back to safety, whatever the cost. The Starlight Wanderer glided silently through the shadows of space, approaching the desolate mining colony on Crix 8. The planet loomed large and foreboding ahead, its surface a patchwork of industrial complexes and barren wastelands. Captain Alex Wren surveyed the approaching landscape with a hardened gaze. "Luca, what's our entry point?" Luca, who had been analyzing the planet's security layout, pointed to a remote section of the colony. "There's a smaller, less guarded landing zone here. It's used primarily for low-grade mineral transports. We should be able to set down without attracting too much attention." "Jenna, take us in. Keep it smooth and slow. The less attention, the better," Alex instructed, his voice low. The ship descended through the planet's thin atmosphere, the hull vibrating softly under the strain. Jenna maneuvered with precision, guiding the Starlight Wanderer towards the designated landing zone nestled between rugged terrain and large ore processing plants. Once they landed, Alex turned to his team, gathered in the ship's cramped briefing room. "Here's the plan. We blend in. I've had suits made based on the scans of typical workers here. They should mask our signatures and make us look like just another group of miners." He handed out the suits, each equipped with basic tools and a concealed weapon for emergencies. "Keep communication to a minimum. Use your earpieces. I'll lead, and remember, our priority is to find Alara and extract her safely. Eyes sharp, everyone." Disguised as miners, Alex led his team off the ship and into the colony. The oppressive atmosphere of Crix 8 was immediate. The air was thick with dust, and the harsh sounds of machinery drowned out any conversation. As they walked through the colony, Alex kept a vigilant eye on their surroundings. Workers, their faces worn and expressionless, shuffled by without a glance. The presence of Zercurian overseers, towering and silent, served as a constant reminder of the risk they were undertaking. Elsie, walking slightly behind Alex, leaned in. "I'm picking up chatter about a high-security block. That could be where they're holding Alara." "Lead the way, Elsie." Quietly, Alex murmured back. Navigating through the industrial maze, they finally arrived at a heavily fortified structure. Guards patrolled the perimeter, their movements robotic and precise. "We can't go through the front. Too risky," Alex whispered, pulling the team aside into the shadow of a large ore processor. "Luca, any ideas?" Luca scanned the building with a small, handheld device. "There's a maintenance hatch on the backside. It's less guarded, but will still require a bypass." "Jenna, you and Luca take the lead on the hatch. Elsie and I will cover you. If anything goes sideways, we fall back to the ship immediately," Alex instructed, the weight of their task clear in his tone. As night began to fall, casting long shadows over the colony, the team made their move. Jenna and Luca, nimble and silent, worked quickly to unlock the maintenance hatch. With a soft hiss, it opened, granting them access to the interior of the high-security block. Inside, the air was cooler, the sterile corridors lit by harsh, flickering lights. Alex led them cautiously, deeper into the heart of the enemy's lair, every step bringing them closer to Alara. The interior of the high-security block was a labyrinth of stark, metallic corridors. Captain Alex Wren led his team with silent precision, their minor disguises momentarily abandoned for the sleeker, dark suits designed for stealth. Elsie's handheld scanner beeped softly, guiding them through the twisting passageways. "This way," Elsie whispered, her voice barely audible as she directed the group towards the detention area. The scanner showed a layout of the building, including the location of security cameras and patrol routes. As they neared the cell block, a sudden clang echoed down the corridor, footsteps of Zercurian guards approaching. Alex signaled for his team to press against the cold wall, blending into the shadows. Jenna, who had been monitoring the guards' patterns, gestured that they would pass without entering their hallway. The team held their breath as the heavy steps grew louder and then gradually faded away. Once clear, they continued, reaching the heavily fortified doors of the detention cells. Luca, their tech specialist, set to work on the door's control panel. "Give me just a second," he murmured, his tools clicking softly against the machinery. With a final twist, the panel beeped affirmatively, and the door slid open with a quiet whoosh. Inside the detention area, rows of cells stretched out before them. Alex motioned for quiet as they moved down the line, searching for Alara. Elsie's scanner was now tuned to life signs, picking up the faint readings behind each door. "Here." Elsie stopped abruptly, her scanner flashing at one particular cell. Inside, a figure sat on a small bench, her form shrouded in darkness. Alex approached the cell door, his hand steady as he worked to override the lock. The door opened silently, revealing a slender Maldarian woman with luminescent skin that faintly illuminated the dim cell. Her eyes, wide and wary, fixed on Alex. "You're Alara?" Alex asked gently, stepping inside. "Yes. Who are you?" Her voice was tinged with both hope and fear. "I'm Captain Alex Wren, and we're here to get you out," he replied, offering a reassuring smile. "You sent a distress call. We received it." Alara stood, her height nearly matching Alex's. "I didn't think anyone would come. The Zercurians, they monitor everything." "Not everything," Alex said with a slight grin. "Let's go, we don't have much time." Alara nodded, her eyes settling on each team member with silent gratitude. They quickly retraced their steps, Alara in tow, moving towards the maintenance hatch they had entered through. Their escape was not as smooth as their entry. As they neared the exit, an alarm blared throughout the facility. Red lights flashed, bathing the corridors in a stark, urgent glow. "They know we're here," Jenna said, pulling out her weapon. "We need to move, fast." Alex led the sprint back to the hatch. Behind them, the sound of guards mobilizing filled the air. Alara, despite her initial frailty, kept pace, her determination clear. They burst out of the maintenance hatch into the cold night air of Crix 8, the ship in sight. Luca and Jenna provided cover fire as Alex and Elsie helped Alara across the rugged terrain. Reaching the Starlight Wanderer, they quickly boarded, sealing the hatch behind them. Jenna wasted no time, lifting off and steering them away from the colony as fast as the engines would allow. Inside, as the adrenaline began to ebb, Alex watched Alara, who stared out a window at the shrinking planet, a mix of relief and sorrow on her face. "We're safe, for now," Alex assured her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "But it's a long journey ahead." Alara turned to him, her expression hardening with resolve. "Then let's get started." As the Starlight Wanderer soared away from Crix 8, Captain Alex Wren monitored their escape route intently. The atmosphere on the bridge was tense, with each crew member keenly aware that the hardest part of their mission might still lie ahead. "We've got multiple incoming signals, Captain," Luca announced, his voice tight with concern as he scrutinized the sensor readings. "Looks like a squadron of Zercurian drones are in pursuit." Alex's jaw set firmly. "Jenna, evasive maneuvers. Elsie, work with Luca to jam their sensors. We can't let them get a lock on us." Jenna's hands flew over the controls, the ship banking sharply as she navigated through asteroid debris and intermittent laser fire from the pursuing drones. The ship shuddered under the stress, a testament to the perilous dance between predator and prey. Elsie quickly set up their electronic countermeasures, sending out bursts of disruptive signals designed to confuse the drone's targeting systems. "Jamming their sensors now," she confirmed, keeping her eyes glued to her monitors. Alara, still in the main cabin and unaccustomed to such chaos, strapped herself into a seat, her eyes wide but her demeanor resolute. "Is there anything I can do?" she shouted over the din. "Stay strapped in and keep calm," Alex called back, his focus split between the chase and ensuring his new charge's safety. The ship rocked violently as a near miss from a drone's laser grazed their hull. "Shields at 75% and dropping," Luca reported, his voice strained. "We need a plan, Alex," Jenna said, glancing back at him with a grim expression. Alex thought quickly, his gaze darting to the star map. "There's a nebula not far from here, the Seraphim Nebula. It's dense and could mask our signature." "Setting course," Jenna responded, adjusting their trajectory even as another volley of laser fire lit up the space around them. As they approached the nebula, the colorful gases swirling like a cosmic storm, Alex felt a mix of awe and anxiety. "Luca, keep those jammers on full blast until we're inside." The ship plunged into the nebula, the gases enveloping them in a vibrant mist. The pursuing drones, less equipped to navigate the dense environment, slowed, their sensors scrambled by the nebula's natural electromagnetic fields. "We're clear, for now," Luca finally breathed out, the relief palpable in his voice. The crew slumped in their seats, the immediate threat evaded, but the gravity of their situation hanging over them like a dark cloud. Alex turned to Alara, who had unstrapped herself and moved closer to the others. "Are you all right?" Alex asked, his tone softening. Alara nodded, a trace of a smile flickering across her face. "Yes, thanks to you and your crew. But Captain, the Zercurians will not stop looking for me. My abilities, they're valuable to them." Alex frowned, considering this new information. We need to know what we're dealing with. Can you tell us more about these abilities? Alara hesitated, then spoke. I can manipulate energy, create shields, disrupt electronic devices. It's why they held me. Then we have more reason to keep you safe, and use your skills to our advantage, Alex said thoughtfully. The Starlight Wanderer continued its flight through the nebula, the beauty of the swirling gases outside belying the perilous journey ahead. Alex knew that while they had escaped immediate danger, the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. But with Alara's unique powers now part of their arsenal, a new plan began to take shape, one that could not only ensure their safety, but strike a blow against the Zerkurian oppressors. Captain Alex Wren studied the holographic star map projected in the middle of the Starlight Wanderer's strategy room. The ship was still hidden within the depths of the Seraphim Nebula, the vibrant swirls of cosmic gas providing a temporary shield from their pursuers. Options? Alex looked around the room, his gaze settling on each member of his crew, including Alara. Her understanding of Zerkurian technology could be the key to their next move. We could keep running, Jenna suggested, her voice echoing slightly in the quiet room. But they'll track us down eventually. We're outmanned and outgunned in a straight fight. Luca chimed in. What if we don't run? What if we use the nebula to set a trap? With Alara's abilities, we could create a strong enough disruption to disable a Zerkurian scout fleet. Alara nodded slowly, considering. I can amplify the nebula's natural electromagnetic fluctuations. It might be enough to knock out their systems temporarily, long enough for us to strike. Alex considered the risks and potential rewards. It's a gamble, but it's the best shot we have to buy some permanent breathing room. Elsie added, it's also a chance to send a message. We're not just survivors, we're defenders. The plan was set. Alex and his team prepared the Starlight Wanderer for battle, positioning it at the heart of the nebula where Alara's powers could be most effective. As the Zerkurian fleet approached, lured in by a fake distress signal Luca crafted, the tension aboard the Wanderer spiked. Ready, Alara? Alex asked, his voice calm despite the pounding in his chest. Alara positioned herself at the ship's core, her hands raised towards the control panels, her face set in concentration. Ready. As the first Zerkurian ships emerged from the nebula's edge, Alara unleashed her energy. The nebula responded, its gases glowing intensely as waves of electromagnetic energy pulsed outward. The effect was immediate and devastating. Zerkurian ships caught in the surge faltered. Their systems overloaded, engines stuttered and shut down, drifting helplessly. We've got them, Luca shouted, jubilation in his voice. The crew rushed to the weapons consoles, firing on the disabled ships, taking out the Zerkurian drones with precision. Within minutes, it was over. The Zerkurian fleet was decimated, a few managing to limp away, severely damaged. Alex breathed a sigh of relief, clapping Alara on the shoulder. Incredible work. You just saved us again. Alara smiled, a hint of pride in her eyes. We saved each other. With the immediate threat neutralized, the crew of the Starlight Wanderer took stock of their situation. They had struck a significant blow against the Zerkurians, but Alex knew this victory would have consequences. We need to move, Alex said, already thinking ahead. They'll send reinforcements. We need to find allies, build our strength. If we're going to stand a chance against the Zerkurians, we can't do it alone. The crew nodded in agreement, energized by their victory but aware of the challenges ahead. They set a course for the nearest friendly sector, ready to recruit others to their cause. As the Starlight Wanderer left the nebula behind, the stars ahead seemed a little brighter, the path forward a bit clearer. They had won the battle, but the war for their freedom, and that of others oppressed by the Zerkurians, was just beginning. The bridge of the Starlight Wanderer was bathed in the soft glow of dawn light from a nearby star, casting a hopeful radiance over the crew as they plotted their course forward. Captain Alex Wren stood at the helm, a rare moment of peace settling over him as he considered their journey and the path that lay ahead. We've made some powerful enemies, but also proved we can stand up to them, Alex mused aloud, glancing at his crew, who had gathered around the navigation table. Our next steps are crucial. Alara, who had become much more than just a passenger in need of rescue, looked up from the star map. We have an opportunity to inspire others. If the Zerkurians are oppressing more than just the Maldarians, we can help forge an alliance against them. Jenna nodded, her eyes scanning potential allies listed on the datapad. There are several systems within this sector known for their resistance movements. They could use someone like Alara and a ship like the Wanderer. Luca chimed in, his voice filled with determination. And we have the data from the Zerkurian ships we disabled. It's valuable, both strategically and as a bargaining chip with potential allies. Alex's gaze settled on Alara, seeing the resolve in her eyes. What do you think? You're part of this crew now. Your input is as important as any. Alara took a deep breath, her earlier timidity replaced by a steely confidence. I spent a long time feeling helpless, believing I could do little to change my fate. You helped me see that's not true. I want to fight, not just for my freedom, but for everyone's. Then it's settled, Alex said with a firm nod. We'll make contact with the resistance movements and offer what we can. It's time to turn the tide against the Zercurians. The crew spent the next hours preparing communications, strategizing meetings, and plotting courses to various systems. As each plan was set into motion, the energy on the bridge was electric, a stark contrast to the uncertainty that had once clouded their mission. Days turned into weeks as the Starlight Wanderer traveled from system to system, building alliances and sharing their knowledge of Zercurian weaknesses. With each new ally, their network grew, creating a formidable force united by a common cause. Finally, as they orbited a free planet that had agreed to host their growing alliance, Alex took a moment to address his crew and their new partners. What we started as a small crew on a single ship has grown into something greater. Together, we have the power to reclaim our freedom and ensure the safety of the galaxy. Cheers filled the room, the sound of newfound hope resonating deep within the starship. Alara stood by Alex's side, her presence a symbol of the change they had sparked. As the meeting adjourned, Alex and Alara stepped aside, looking out at the stars through the viewport. You know, when I first heard your distress call, I never imagined it would lead us here, Alex said quietly. Alara smiled, her gaze reflective. I had given up hope until you answered my call. Now here we are, possibly on the brink of a galactic revolution. Alex smiled back, the weight of their responsibilities tempered by the bonds they had formed. Together, we'll keep fighting. And one day, we'll look back at all this as the beginning of a new era. The Starlight Wanderer set off again, its course now clear, its crew united not just by a mission, but by a shared vision of freedom and justice. As the ship sailed through the cosmos, it carried not just a crew, but a beacon of hope for the galaxy.